firestorm over his comments about Muslims began showed Trump with a 20-point lead, leading Ben Carson 35-15 with Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio close behind for third place at 14%. The poll conducted Saturday through Tuesday found that after Trump unveiled his controversial plan, climbed 8 points from 30% the first two nights to 38% the last two nights.
Let's keep those numbers up. Willie, you know, you can look at that, and that 8% rise, or he's doing better in this poll than he was in the first poll we showed, which was taken after the Muslim ban comments. There's so much there. You can look at the substance of it, but that 8% rise, you know, not only with people agreeing with him on policy, but there's a lot of media loathing involved there. Trump on the ropes again. Trump getting attacked by the PC police. I don't even know that it's about policy anymore, and more than it is just sort of resentment. This wing is the resentment wing of the Republican Party, and it's been strong for a long time.
And Mika does have another poll coming up that shows it is a little bit about policy because so many Republicans agree with his idea to ban Muslims. But I think you're right. He sets these issues up brilliantly, politically I'm talking about, because he can put something on the table, have the media rail against it, have the establishment rail against it, and then say, look, to his supporters, look at how they feel about us. They're not with us. They're career politicians. They're in the media. They don't get us. And it helps his support grow within that pocket of support that he's already got. It goes up, and it has.
And Mike Barnicle, look at this. I mean, in this situation, as Halpern has pointed out, he finds himself in a situation where he is on the side of 66% of people in the Republican Party. Well, only 15, 16, 17 oppose this plan. 66% in the party support the plan, and he's the only person running for president that is on that side of the issue. Everybody else, like us, immediately condemned the plan.
Well, I'd be interested in Robert Costa's thoughts on this because off of what you just said, Joe, I mean, you keep hearing that the Republican establishment is going to try and come together to stop Donald Trump. You keep hearing it over and over and over again. So, Bob, I want to ask you, what is the Republican establishment? What does it consist of today? Is it existent today? And what can they do, if they can do anything?
Well, they're all reluctant, Mike, to say they would not support him if he won the nomination because they know that would set him off. And so they're resisting doing that. But privately, they're all looking at the calendar and they think, could Trump really get enough delegates? And they're thinking ahead, not that there's going to be a broker convention, but would they be ready for a broker convention should Trump really be storming ahead with the lead in the delegate count?
So they're afraid of setting Donald Trump off, and yet these candidates and their people they're running for a job where they'll have to confront Vladimir Putin, but they're afraid to set Donald Trump off. That's where we are?
That's where we are at the moment. I think the key thing you have to watch is who's going to spend money on ads in the next 50 or 60 days. Who's going to put money on the airwaves in New Hampshire and South Carolina? And if no one does that, you're just going to have to beat them if you're the Republican establishment. Beat them on the ground.
Boy, well, speaking of money, though, money, and we're about to tell a story, a Jeb Bush story. Money don't buy you love this campaign cycle. In fact, it does nothing for you.
Yeah, Trump has spent almost nothing, and look where he is. And as we're about, I think, to talk about, Jeb Bush and his super PAC have spent a fortune, and look where he is. But I guess my question for Robert or anybody else is, what are they so afraid of with Trump? Are they afraid he's going to run as an independent, or are they afraid he's simply going to come back and attack them? Because I don't think he runs as an independent. I can't imagine him spending $1 billion of his own money.
They're the most afraid right now. They're fighting for their lives. Every one of them's fighting for their lives, and they're afraid that 66% of people in the Republican Party who votes supports Donald Trump's position. And not so much about Donald Trump. I think there is fear that they may actually offend the electorate because that's where the Republican Party appears to be right now. Look at that. 65% of Republicans favor Trump's proposal. Only 22% oppose. And when you're looking at people that vote in Republican primaries, that's what they're focused on right now.
You have touched upon what I think is one of the most interesting elements of Trump's popularity. We get continued written and rhetorical descriptions on TV and in newspapers about the Trump constituency. And almost always they are labeled as, you know, blue-collar, you know, Southern guys, driving pickup trucks, shotguns in the... It's far wider and broader than
Mika, haven't we heard that?
Well, I mean, it's the first thing that I thought when he announced is that they're going to be small businessmen, medium-sized businessmen and women who want this guy to win because they really feel that his success could be their success.
We've had 15 years of people living with the various grievances in this country, beginning with fighting wars, their sons going to fight wars when no one else's sons go to fight wars. We have people who have lost homes, incomes, 401ks.
It's not working for them.
And they can't find anyone to go to and say, hey, you know what, go, boom, yourself.
Yeah.
And
Trump is doing that